Hey everybody, Tim here with today's special co-host Little Bear with tonight's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. We got Season 2, Episode 20, The Emissary. So I wanted to put a little emphasis on the word the, because when we get to Deep Space Nine, 5 seasons from now, the pilot episode is called just Emissary. So we're kind of starting to see where they're recycling title names, which we'll see again for, I think it's the original series or the animated series where it's Eye of the Beholder, and then when we get to Season 6 of The Next Generation, it's The Eye of the Beholder. So it's just kind of weird that they don't really stretch out that far. This episode's really good. It's a really interesting episode. This episode introduces the character Kalar, I think is how you say her name. I'm not that good with Klingon names. So she's like an emissary sent from the Klingon homeworld. And so at this point, we know this this episode takes place, or it came out before the 6th movie. So we don't really know as viewers where things are going. So you have to watch it in that mindset. Because we don't know the history behind the Federation and the Klingon Empire. So she's sent to the Enterprise because a Klingon battle cruiser has been in hibernation for, I think they said 75 years, and it's just now coming out, which I think 75 years would place it right around the motion picture. They're just now coming out of it, and so since they don't know that there's peace now, the Klingons are kind of worried that they're just going to start instantly attacking the first Federation they see and ruin this peace. So the Enterprise is basically sent to intercept it and kind of explain, hey, while you've been sleeping, a lot of shit's changed. And so that alone, it's an interesting episode. Kalar is really what makes this episode interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it for those who don't know. Kalar is Worf's baby mama. This is actually the episode where Alexander's conceived. So I've always kind of joked, I wonder if they show him clips of this. So it's interesting because Kalar and Worf have clearly had a history, and they kind of allude to it, and they talk about it a little bit, but they don't go into a lot of details. But they were clearly in a relationship, and she wanted to go further, but Worf didn't, and ended up going into Starfleet and stuff like that. Whereas now it's kind of changed. Worf wants to get married, and she's like, no, we just had a one-night stand, don't worry about it. And so we start to see more of that Klingon culture, which I love. I love how we keep getting deeper and deeper into this culture, and we start learning more and more. We especially get more into it when we get to Deep Space Nine and stuff. But yeah, so Kalar is also interesting because she's the first human Klingon hybrid that we've seen in the series so far. Which again, that's something that we start to see more and more, especially when we get to Voyager and we have B'Elanna Torres, who's half Klingon, half human, and she's one of the main characters of the series. So it's just kind of interesting where they're going with the hybrids. I mean, we started with Spock, who was half Vulcan, half human. We've had Troy, half Beta Z, and now we have Kalar. We also, going back to the Klingon culture type thing, we go back to Worf's calisthenics workout program, which we saw in an earlier episode with Worf and Riker training or working out on the holodeck. Well, we go back to that same workout routine, so it's kind of interesting. I love when they go back to things like the Dixon Hill storyline or Data and Sherlock. So Worf's workout routine I thought was really interesting that we come back to it. We also come back to them playing poker, which the first time we saw it was great, where it's Data and Riker going face to face, and he's like, is that what's known as a poker face? Which now I got Lady Gaga on my head. Whereas in this episode, it's Worf's turn to really be laying down the cards. But yeah, so this episode's a really good episode. It's more of a precursor episode, because I think I like this one because I see all of the things in future seasons coming out of it. But on its own, it's still a really good episode. It's a really interesting episode. For those who have seen this episode, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Worf's kind of background in general? As the series progresses, we learn more about Worf and now his son Alexander in a couple of seasons, and his parents and his adopted parents and his adopted siblings and all sorts of stuff. So go ahead and let me know what you guys think about Worf in general. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys who have reached out, liking my videos. And I will see you guys next time for Peak Performance.